Joining us now from Tel Aviv, Michael Oren, former Israeli ambassador to the United States. Also joining us this morning, CNN Global Affairs analyst Kim Dozier. Appreciate you both being here very much. And Kim, your analysis was really helpful after we heard the president speak yesterday, not calling for restraint from Israel. Can you speak to what you see as a narrow window that Israel has to fully respond here?
Well, they're already circling Gaza with 300,000 troops. But reports are coming out as they pounded the area with airstrikes, softening it up, taking out possible opposition before moving in, that civilian casualties are growing. Hospitals are reporting being overwhelmed with casualties, having supplies running out, and also full of Palestinian families that don't know where else to go, don't have bomb shelters. UN schools where they sheltered, those are all full. They can't get over the borders, so they're crowding into hospitals. Those are the kind of photos, videos that are flooding the Arab world and will eventually cause, especially once an incursion happens, the more civilian casualties are reported, that's going to cause international outcry, whereas right now, the focus is still, at least in the West, on the atrocities committed, the deaths of Israeli citizens in the attack on Saturday.
Ambassador, to Kim's point, the White House, the administration is very aware of this fact and that reality. And yet, the speech from President Biden yesterday was among, if not the most impassioned speeches I've seen him give, and I've watched him fairly closely over the last 2.5 years. You're also a historian, along with your role as a former ambassador. Put that into context, what happened yesterday.
I got to put a finer point on it. It wasn't the most impassioned speech that President Biden has ever given, maybe on any subject. It was certainly the most impassioned speech that any president has given in history about the relationship between the United States and the state of Israel. I was actually shocked. I've known Joe Biden for many years, and I know that he's deeply concerned about the state of Israel. He loves the state of Israel. He comes here and describes himself as a Zionist, but that speech went far beyond it. He connected Israel's pain to his personal pain, the loss of family members. He went far further than I thought was possible in the American political context to say we're going to use American force. That's really quite extraordinary. And to say he was going to work with a largely dysfunctional Congress to get aid for Israel, it was point after point after point that I really have never heard anything like it. But to get to Kim's point, there was also some messages behind the text. And one of them was, we expect you have a green light to go ahead and enter Gaza in a ground invasion, but we expect you the Israelis, to act according to international law to the degree that you can. Don't create those bad pictures on the TV that's going to make it difficult for me to help you. And that's what I understood from that line.
Ambassador, I wonder what you make of the argument Tom Friedman made in the New York Times. This was before the president's speech, but it was 3 things that he hopes for from President Biden. And one of them was to ask Israel the question as it considers what to do next in Gaza, quote, what do my worst enemies want me to do, and how can I do just the opposite? He's arguing that the way that Hamas carried out this attack was also in an effort to get Israel to overreact. Now, I'm not sure what an overreaction is to this brutality, but his argument is do not get entangled into a situation that will look so much worse than the U.S. in Fallujah in 2004. I just wonder what you make of that argument.
Well, it's an old argument, and I've made it myself, which is we could invade Gaza. We could actually rid Gaza of Hamas, but at the end, we're going to be sitting there holding the keys to Gaza, and who's going to take the keys from us? And I think that this is a point in which we can enter into an intimate conversation with our American allies about what to do in the morning after. Can we think of in terms of, say, an inter-Arab force, Saudi, Emirati forces that could take over from us, or some other type of international forum? Can we think about some kind of involvement in the Palestinian Authority? That's a very hard question, because the Palestinian Authority last time was there was ousted by Hamas. So it's a difficult question. I understand what Tom Friedman is saying. Right now, Israeli public opinion is close to 100% behind a ground invasion, not to go back to that status quo ante at virtually any price.
Kim, last word to you. The efforts from the administration to try and warn off not just Hezbollah, but other actors in the region from trying to take advantage of this moment. But to the ambassador's point, behind the scenes right now, diplomatically, what conversations are happening? What are they trying to do to create, at least lay the groundwork as this invasion looms for some type of resolution or end game here?
Well, we know that the White House has been working through Qatar and other Middle East diplomats to try to reason with Hamas to get some of the hostages, at least the women and children, released. But it hasn't happened yet. And the moment an invasion starts, I think diplomatic efforts are going to be off until at least the opening days of the war. And from Israel's point of view, they've got to take out this apparatus that has grown much larger than they expected. They've got to find as many of the weapons caches, the rocket stores as they can and take those out because it is an existential threat to their entire country. Iran knows, however, that while it can get its allies on the ground to do harassing attacks, that were it to do something all out, were it to launch its own missiles at Israel, then the U.S. is standing by to react.
Kim Dozier, thank you as always. Ambassador Michael Oren, good to have you as well. Thanks.